innocent at first, but carried with it an unspeakable curse. It was called The Crying Boy, a portrait of a tear-streaked child with eyes that appeared too knowing, too sorrowful, painted by Giovanni Bragolin, a pseudonym for the Italian artist Bruno Amadio. The image was mass-produced and hung in countless homes, unwittingly marking them with a dark and sinister fate. People who hung the crying boy on their walls soon began to notice strange, disturbing things. Appliances malfunctioned for no reason. Unexplained fires broke out, always destroying everything but the painting itself. Houses burned to the ground, leaving the cursed child's face untouched, staring from the ashes, his tears glistening like drops of blood. The stories were too widespread to dismiss as coincidence. One family reported their house burning down despite the flames being miraculously contained in every room except the one with the crying boy on the wall. The painting remained untouched, its eyes still weeping, its expression as empty as death itself. Over time, the legend of the cursed painting grew, and so did the fear. People claimed that if you owned the crying boy, you were doomed to suffer tragedy. It was said that the boy in the painting was no ordinary child, but the spirit of a soul lost to the flames, forever bound to seek revenge on those who dared to possess his image. In the years that followed, the crying boy was quietly removed from homes, burned or hidden away, but the legend remains. Some say that if you find one of the paintings today, you should never look into the child's eyes, for if you do, the curse will follow you, bringing death and destruction. An unrelenting reminder that the boy's tears are never shed in vain. There are bridges across the United States, weathered and forgotten, where the air grows thick with an unsettling presence, a presence that can only be described by one name: Crybaby Bridge. On these forsaken structures, beneath the weight of darkness, a chilling sound pierces the night, the unmistakable wail of a baby. Some say it's the echo of a mother's grief. Others speak of a tragedy too terrible to comprehend. Legend has it that the cry comes from the depths of the bridge, rising from the black waters below. The baby's scream is sharp, desperate, full of the raw, painful longing of a child lost in time. Those brave enough to stop and listen speak of the hair-raising feeling that something unseen is watching, waiting. Some say if you listen too long, you'll hear more than just crying. You'll hear the soft, wet footsteps of something crawling up from the dark, its hands reaching for you, pulling you into the water, just as it did to the child long ago. And no one knows why the sound lingers. Some claim it's the spirit of a baby drowned by a cruel fate. Others say it's a curse, a warning to anyone who dares cross the bridge after dark. But one thing is certain: if you hear the cry, you are never truly alone, and the bridge, like the child, will never let you go. In the dead silence of the night, a woman returned home to an eerie sight. Her loyal Doberman, gasping and choking, its powerful body convulsing on the floor. Panic surged as she knelt by her faithful pet, its eyes wide with desperation, pawing frantically at its throat. She wrestled with its jaws, struggling to dislodge whatever was caught. Finally, with a sickening pull, she freed a grotesque object, a severed, bloodied human finger. Horrified, she quickly dialed the vet, explaining in broken words the disturbing discovery. "Get here now," she urged, barely able to suppress the terror building inside her. Leaving her Doberman with the vet, she returned home, shaken but grateful her dog had survived the encounter. Yet as she walked into her darkened living room, a sudden chill ran down her spine. Her skin prickled as if she was being watched. Then came a soft, almost imperceptible sound. Something dragging across the floor, moving closer. She reached for her phone, heart pounding, and dialed the police, whispering her fears into the receiver. When the officers arrived, they searched the house. In the shadows of her bedroom closet, they found him, a man crouched and clutching his bleeding hand, his face twisted in rage and pain, his gaze wild. Her Doberman had done more than just protect. It had bitten clean through the intruder's fingers, forcing him into hiding as he bled out in her own home, lurking only feet away. As they hauled the intruder away, the woman shivered, realizing how close she had been to unspeakable horror. Her brave Doberman had saved her life, chilling reminder of those bloodied fingers, a haunting trophy of terror, would forever linger in her memory. In the eerie darkness of Cape Henlopen State Park, a ghostly light flickers on the horizon, drawing the lost and the curious into its haunting glow. Known as the corpse light, this phantom flame lures those who wander too far from the path with a false promise of safety. It's a light that seems to dance just out of reach, flickering like a distant beacon, as though someone or something is waiting for you to follow. But don't be fooled by its warm, inviting glow. Those who have dared to approach the corpse light speak of a terror that creeps up behind you, growing colder and darker with every step you take toward it. The closer you get, the dimmer the light becomes, until it vanishes entirely, leaving you lost in a suffocating, unnatural darkness. And that's when the true horror strikes. Some say the light is the soul of a sailor who perished long ago, forever doomed to lead others to their doom. Others whisper that it's a manifestation of something far older, something that preys on the vulnerable. Many who followed it have disappeared without a trace, their final screams swallowed by the night. If you ever see the corpse light flickering in the distance, turn away. The light is a trap, and it will never let you leave. In the shadowy corners of Chilean and Argentine folklore, there is a creature that terrifies even the most steadfast, the chanchon. This isn't any ordinary bird. It is a dark spirit, a twisted sorcerer transformed, taking the grotesque form of a disembodied head with enormous bat-like wings formed from its own ears. The chanchon is said to haunt the night, its eerie, blood-curdling cry, tee, 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 echoing through villages and sending icy chills down the spines of those who hear it. Legend tells of powerful machi, sorcerers who could transcend the human form and, through a dark ritual, separate their heads to transform into the chanchon. As these sinister heads take flight, they prowl the darkness, seeking their victims, driven by an insatiable thirst for fear, with piercing red eyes that glow against the inky sky, and fanged teeth that glint in the moonlight. The Chon-Chon is more than a mere creature. It is an omen of death, a harbinger of doom. Villagers claim that if you hear the chilling toot-toot-toot cry, you must hide and remain absolutely silent, for the Chon-Chon can sense even the faintest breath, the slightest heartbeat. Its presence drains warmth from the air, leaving a deathly chill in its wake. Some who have dared to look up at the sky during the cry swear they have seen the Chon-Chon hovering, watching, waiting, and for the unlucky ones it chooses to descend upon, a strange, feverish sickness follows, lingering like a dark curse. Those who have encountered the Chon-Chon and lived to tell the tale often describe nightmares that plague them for weeks afterward. Visions of a head with flapping ears, soulless red eyes, and that unending, haunting cry. To this day, the Chon-Chon remains a whispered fear in the quiet villages along the Andes, a ghostly predator that rules the night skies. So if you ever hear that distant ghostly toot-toot-toot cry in the dead of night, beware. The Chon-Chon may be circling above, its gaze set on you, eager to claim yet another soul in the darkness.
In the heart of Iowa City's Oakland Cemetery stands a figure cloaked in darkness and mystery, the Black Angel, a towering bronze statue that looms over the grave of Teresa Feldwert. Erected in mourning, the angel's darkened form and unsettling gaze quickly became the source of fearful whispers. Legend says she is cursed, a silent harbinger of death, watching and waiting for those who dare to defy her silent warning. By day, the statue is imposing, her massive wings stretching wide, casting shadows over the graves below. But as night falls, her presence shifts from solemn to sinister. Those who have dared to visit her after dark claim to feel an intense, bone-chilling cold radiate from the statue, as if death itself were reaching out. They say that anyone who dares touch the angel at midnight will suffer misfortune, illness, or worse, death within days. Some claim to have seen her eyes glow faintly, an unnatural, haunting light that pierces through the fog, as if the angel herself is peering into the souls of those nearby. A few witnesses swear that her wings have moved, rustling slightly, and her hands seem to reach out, fingers stiff yet desperate, as if she longs to pull the living into her cold, stone embrace. Teenagers once dared to kiss the feet of the angel, testing her rumoured curse, but tragedy followed. Accidents, inexplicable illnesses, and even untimely deaths plagued those who tried to defy her legend. Her presence, they say, is more than mere stone. It is a shadow of sorrow and vengeance, eternally bound to the cemetery. Today, locals avoid the Black Angel at night, believing she still harbours a dark power, and if you stand before her, feeling her hollow gaze settle upon you, remember, her curse awaits anyone brave or foolish enough to challenge her. sinister figures, resembling children aged between 6 and 16, have been reported on doorsteps, in parking lots, along deserted roadsides, and even knocking on car windows. Their pale skin and soulless black eyes, unmistakable and unforgettable. They appear vulnerable, lost, perhaps even in need of help, but there's something undeniably wrong about them. The stories are always the same. A lone person is going about the night when there's an unexpected knock. Upon opening the door, they find two children standing in the shadows, heads tilted down, hands clasped tightly. They speak softly, their voices eerily calm, asking to come inside, pleading to be let in. Please, we're lost, they whisper. We need to use your phone. Let us in. An inexplicable dread seeps into the air, an instinctive warning not to trust these children. Their presence feels wrong, alien. The unfortunate souls who've encountered them describe a rising terror, a sensation so primal it makes the hair on the back of their necks stand. These children will persistently ask to be let in, growing more insistent with each refusal, their voices slipping from gentle to unnervingly demanding. The true horror, however, lies in their eyes, pitch black orbs, empty of any warmth, life, or humanity. Once the blackness of their gaze is noticed, the fear becomes inescapable. Witnesses describe an overwhelming urge to shut the door, to flee, as if staring into those eyes could drain one's very soul. Some unlucky individuals have reported letting the children inside, only to be overcome by feelings of despair and dread. Their homes feel darker, colder, and they report experiencing nightmares and a constant feeling of being watched. Those who survive such encounters claim their lives are never the same, haunted by sickness, misfortune, and a sense of something unseen lurking just beyond their vision. Legend has it that the black-eyed children are not children at all, but creatures of something older and darker, a malevolent force cloaked in the innocence of youth. They cannot enter unless invited, yet they possess a strange hypnotic pull, as if they can bend their victims' wills to their own. Those who encounter the black-eyed children speak of them in hushed voices, sharing only vague details, fearful of summoning them back by remembering too clearly. And for those who live alone, beware of unexpected knocks on your door late at night. Because if you ever hear a soft, insistent voice asking to be let in, resist the urge to open the door. Turn off the light